Hello and welcome to Flip-Flops and Notebooks Book Reviews. I am Elliot, and today's book is a nominee for the Walter Scott Prize for Historical Fiction. I wish that would guarantee a pleasurable reading experience, but not always. I know I'm being kind of sarcastic. I'm talking about Stacey Halls' Mrs.England. All right, let's find out what I had to complain about in this one. Let's grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea and let's get started. So first of all, thank you to Mira Publishing and NetGalley for providing me with a copy of this book. All of my opinions are my own. This was still part of the 2022 Historical Fiction blog tours, and I was very intrigued by the book blurb of the story, and it reminded me a lot of the classical stories from yonder years. I just really wasn't impressed. Let me count the ways. Characters. The protagonist, Ruby. She was very inconsistent, very moody in a way that more than once I was kind of wondering if she had some sort of depression or even a split personality. The reader never knew what she would be like from one chapter to the next. So it was a little bit jarring. It was a little bit uncomfortable reading it because you just didn't know. It's like, oh, what side are we going to see today? And that was really not included in the story. If she really had that kind of struggle, why not address it instead of just keeping it hovering there? It's like, oh, you see, she might have depression. Like, no, give the reader something, right? The other characters, minor characters, they were very basic, one-dimensional. They were typical minor characters. They were predictable. I knew what this Mr. England was all about right from the get-go, right from the first smile, and it's just kind of like, okay, I wonder if I'm right. I was. It wasn't really anything to build a good reading experience on. And of course, but they were just not well thought through. It was just plot heavily inspired by Bronte'S Jane Eyre, and it had a bit of a vibe of The Yellow Wallpaper by Gilman. I would highly recommend reading that, actually. And let me read you a little quote from Mrs.England right now to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. 5 minutes later, the train drew to a stop in darkness so complete we might have been inside a tunnel. Nobody else disembarked, and the compartments I'd passed were all empty. 2 cowardly lanterns glowed dimly at either end of the platform, as though they knew their chances of penetrating the night were slim. The rain had stopped, but the air was thick and moist, clinging to me like a wet towel. The guard whistled, and the train gathered itself and heaved off. So kind of, it is set in the Yorkshire area. I mean, you think about Yorkshire moors. What do you think about moors in England? You think about Bronte'S, right? So that's very heavily inspired and that vibe. What else? It lacked passion. And it was also built on that anticipation that never delivered. Every page I read, I'm like, okay, so the next page is going to give me something. And instead, all I got was tangents and herrings and twists that led nowhere. And it was very deceiving. It's like, come on, I'm giving you my time here. Give me something. The writing, though, was excellent. The only reason I kept reading, I could picture every scene, every person, every room in the house, but lots of detail was dumped on the reader in 400 pages with very little action, and then the entire ending was rushed. Why? If you build it up, if you take it to that slow extent, keep it going, give us something, right? The verdict. Wow. If the quality of the writing had been any worse, I would have stopped reading it a long time ago. It was underwhelming, and I'm just kind of sitting here shrugging my shoulders, going, I read it. It's part of the blog tour. I'm not quite sure why it was nominated for a prize, but that's just the way it is sometimes. I would suggest it, but it wouldn't be a must read. All right, that's it for me for today. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the book, because two people can read the same book but never the same story. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.